Thank you so much, Mr. Alok, for joining us on a podcast at Dawdle. Extremely grateful that you are taking out time on this Sunday morning to share your insights with our global audience. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Sir, we have got very interesting set of topics for you. But before
Okay.
we start, would be great if you could kind of take us to your journey so far. Maybe पीछे से आगे या आगे से पीछे, whatever you feel right.
The journey is quite simple. In fact, many of the people who know about me, I started off from the scratch. So after my graduation in life science, I went doing my MBA, and I'm a dual MBA, by the way. So I did it initially from IMA, All India Institute of Management Association. And immediately thereafter, I got into, the job. So 99 November, I remember when I started off my career, taking a base out of Hyderabad city, starting typically as a medical rep. And you can very well imagine 25 years back. So what the life of a medical rep used to be. So it was something like 10, 15 calls a day, carrying a bulky bag, distributing samples, educating doctors with your, pharmacology formulations. And from there, I grew into career into the same organization at different roles, spent around 5, 6 years with the company, and, moved to medical devices thereafter. Started off with Synthos, taken over by J&J lately. Then I grew further. I mean, the God had been kind, and the world altogether bestowed me with a lot of higher responsibility. So I headed as a marketing head for a bot and Bosch and Lomb for India subcontinent. And thereafter, then I got an opportunity to work into hospital industry. So a short stint, but then in 3, 4 years, I could get an opportunity to work with Fortis Healthcare. I worked with HCG. I worked with JP Hospital, which is Max Healthcare now. I worked for a very short duration in terms of launching Akash Healthcare in Dwarka, New Delhi. And then that was a time when I also made a switch for a year to Markets and Markets, which is completely a research and intel company. They primarily give the insights around connected, known, unknown in terms of how the business is heading and what could be the best decisions for healthcare investors as well as FMCGs. So my primary responsibility at that time was to look after US and JAPAC market. And from there, I, landed into HealthTech. So 2019, my HealthTech journey started. So I joined a HIMS company, which was a Reliance Geo invested company, a startup, you can say. And immediately when the COVID came in 2020, technology happened to become a boon for the, overall. So it was like anything you want to do in healthcare, it was all remote. So, we developed a lot of solutions during that time. And that was the time when I also gained a lot of intelligence, learning, knowledge as to how technology is paving the way for the new, set of transformation in healthcare. So 5 odd years, I was with HIMS business development. And then I got into insuretech with a growing focus of government as well as private players. People got shocked. They were afraid. They really wanted to get it insured. And that was a booming stream. 2023, I got into insure technology, insure tech company. I worked IHX for 2 odd years as director. And then I have been picked up to drive the next phase of growth for HealthTech Technologies, which is one of the leading organizations in providing digital interoperable platforms, giving a completely connected healthcare experience to the patients, providers. We specialize primarily into middleware, and that is where I am today. So quite a journey. In fact, a lot of learnings. I'm a washed person, by the way. So I had been assisting doctors in some point of time in my career of ophthalmology, orthopedics, and spine. So I used to be in the OR. I used to assist the doctors. I used to the part of their team doing the jig assembly and in fact helping them get the patient through with the surgical procedure safely and soundly. So this is a small stint about me, and I'm blessed with two young boys. I have a wife, so a small family, and I really feel happy about the way I have cruised through, and I see a humongous change in terms of how healthcare has transformed altogether in last 20, 24 years.
Do you still miss that time, sir, when 1999 when you started as a medical rep?
True. I mean, I would say that people were more collaborative, used to kind of trust each other more. They used to give you more time. But in today's time, the only gap I see is people are living in a fast paced world. So you have just first 10 seconds to give your elevated pitch. And if it sounds music to the ears of the people today, They are with you or they are lost.
Yes.
So gearing up to that level, and probably because everybody is in such a busy lifestyle today, they do not have that much time what people used to have earlier. So
Yes.
they used to really sit down, understand, figure out a way together. So the customers altogether at that time used to, suggest some solutions or way forward how they can collaborate. But in today's time, you see customers or partners or even your colleagues, they would simply look at, okay, do you have a solution for me? If not, okay, fine, thank you. So that's
Yes.
how that's
Yeah.
how the situation is planned today.
It means it has moved from being collaborative to
I would say individualistic, and
individualistic.
and that probably is because today everybody is knowledgeable. If you see, uh, it's not much you have got to tell people until unless you have done some real good research work before you are approaching a person. In today's time, the internet, the Google, the overall knowledge set people have, especially in urban areas. I'm talking about tier one and tier two towns. There's nothing major what they do not know. It's only their own wit and wisdom, maybe their past experience, which will make them give you more time or collaborate with you, or they start looking out as to how the solution engineering being provided by you could help them in growing them altogether. So that's where we are right now.
It feels so nice, sir, like, to see somebody like you, kind of has started from scratch. Such a great inspiration for all those young folks, like, who are in their early 20s and they feel that they can win the world within 1 year. It doesn't happen like this.
It
It
doesn't
takes a lot
happen. And
of.
in fact, they are on a very, very wrong path if they are thinking like that. Because I'll tell you, the top leadership always is hell bent to encourage these set of people. They will always want these people to keep coming up with newer and newer ideas, and people like us will, ignore 101, shortcomings what they may have. But
Yes.
they need to understand one very clear thing is that, see, there is no shortcut.
Yes.
Organizations today who are stable, who are making progress, who are growing, they are growing and stable only because there are certain set of people who are very, very carefully working for the organization. And they just can't accept any kind of a shortcoming. I mean, whatever could be the reason. Today's generation, we see that they will come up with certain excuses or statements of shortcuts, which is not a way to work. I would say the way to work is, say, for example, I will relate it to this way that, in this world, you have good people and bad people. There are crimes happening and there is a police. You cannot expect the world to become clean and there is no crime. The crime will always be there. Police will always be there. And if some shortcut people come and they want to do something very quickly, which might be possible, but the world altogether runs by certain set of people who keeps the order intact, and they will simply not fall prey to these excuses or these shortcuts, or if it is not a very good way of working altogether. We come from a era where we are open to explore all the ideas, we are open to explore all the ways of doing the things, but we will never do something which will spoil the very image of any particular entity, or it could bring the organization to knees, or it may bring a name bad to the organization or people. We do the necessary checks, and there are multiple checks through which we take a informed decision. We do not go by, okay, I thought this will be good and let's go with that. So we don't believe in doing that. And the new generation altogether has to understand and learn that there is no shortcut to quick access of growth, achievement, or getting the work done. You do the work, do it diligently. The other person will respect you for what you are doing. But
Yes.
because they are under some kind of a pressure or some kind of, making numbers altogether, they want quickly something to be done so that they move ahead.
Yes.
So that's an advice. In fact, some people are successful, some people are not, but that is how, the young generation thinks.
One thing I also feel is that, sir, your generation of leaders always loved the journey part more than the destination which they had. Right now, what I see is that a lot of people talk about the destination, but they are not enjoying the journey.
I think that's a very valid point which you have put. And the reason to that is because, today's generation has too many heroes in their eyes. And ever since you see they pass out of their college, there are
Mm.
certain icons which are already placed in their mindset. Okay, I want to become that guy. I want to reach to that position. I want to make that much money, but they forget to know how much hard work
Yes.
or toil that person might have done to reach that position, or what kind of a journey he has cruised through that particular, to achieve that particular level of compensation or the position. So when you say that people like us enjoy the journey, somebody has rightly said, maybe, some great leader, that you should love your work and you should do it with passion. If you get into any stream, if you do something which you love, something which you do it with passion, you will be acknowledged by the world automatically. You don't have to do anything. Neither you have to do any kind of your marketing also.
Yes.
People will see you. They will keep watching you. Okay, this guy is very good in his job. He's so nice in talking. He's so good to be with. And that is what actually helps you get more responsibility. You will keep growing with more and more work. You will keep growing in more and more compensation. And one day you realize that you never thought of that you will get all these things. And then suddenly you have got it. So the new generation today doesn't realizes that. They just feels ki, okay, I have got to get this degree to reach to that position. It doesn't work that way. You see, if I compare today, we are a country of 150 crore people. And every year you see so many medics, so many engineers, so many management guys passing out. And they are from premier colleges.
Yes.
Not everybody is sitting at a Google seat.
Right.
Nobody is Sundar Pichai. I mean, how many Sundar Pichais you can have? Or how many Satya Nadella you can have?
Yes.
It's only one person. But then you have to understand what journey Satya Nadella has gone through, or maybe what journey Sundar Pichai has traveled through. So
Yes.
you should see the leaders and follow their footstep in doing the same amount of hard work, same amount of intelligence, same amount of capability, and then keep doing your work with passion. The more you do your work with passion, with energy, with zeal and interest, automatically you will end up getting something great, because of which you will be elevated. So this is what I believe the younger generation is missing today.
Thank you so much, sir, for pointing this out. Sir, you have witnessed the healthcare ecosystem evolve from a traditional provider-led model to, now data-driven digital networks.
Right.
So how has your understanding of leadership in healthcare transformation evolved through this journey?
I think in the beginning, I believed transformation in healthcare was driven primarily by strategy, technology, and maybe process orientation. A part of it you could say that process optimization rather. But through experience, I have come to realize that true transformation, of course, happens at the intersection of three things. One is people, purpose, or maybe the technology. So what I learned out of this, if I could put it correctly, there are three key important factors to this. One is, of course, the empathy and collaboration, which are as vital as innovation, especially when change impacts clinicians, patients, or support staff simultaneously. The second, I believe, is data and digital systems, which can only enable transformation where there is a shared vision across teams and a culture that embraces a continuous learning. Leadership today, I believe, isn't about directing change from the top, but about co-creating a solution. So if one top leader is there, you just can't expect him to be driving or making everything possible unless he has a good cross-functional team listening to the frontline realities and fostering the trust. Lastly, I also very strongly believe that sustainable transformation always comes from aligning the technology to the customers. So you are able to improve patient experience, clinical efficiency, financial suitability, sustainability rather. In short, if you ask me, my leadership philosophy has shifted from driving change to enabling it. And we create an environment where innovation is natural, people feel ownership, and transformation becomes a shared journey rather than a project. So that is what I keep telling my people around. That is how I manage my team altogether.
This is pretty kind of thought provoking, sir. Like, usually the leadership role was looked as being somebody who kind of drives a change, but what you're telling is an enabling the change, means everybody should be a stakeholder in the change.
Correct.
So you have transitioned from on ground hospital business operations to digital health and SaaS.
Hmm.
And what parallels or gap have you observed between clinical process excellence and technology driven efficiency?
The parallels lie in their shared pursuit of precision, so predictability and better outcomes. Just as clinical excellence depends on evidence based protocols, continuous feedback, patient centric care, digital efficiency, all this thrives on data driven decisions, process standardizations, and user centric designs. Both demand system thinking, disciplined execution, and accountability at every level. However, the gap, I believe, often emerge in how these two worlds are perceived and pace the changes together. So if you look at in hospitals, process excellence is deeply human. It is built around trust, it is built upon empathy, it is and is lived experience of caregivers. Change is slow but deeply validated. If you look at technology, in technology, efficiency is driven by the speed, scalability, and maybe automation. Change is very, very rapid in this part of technology. And, it is iterative, sometimes detached from on ground emotional and operational realities, because technology will just think of giving a solution. How that solution is perceived, how it is used, the technology never realizes that. The real challenge and opportunity lies in bridging that gap and designing the tech systems that think like clinicians and operate like engineers. So when digital health tool mirror the rhythm of a clinical workflow rather than impose on them, transformation becomes seamless. Adoption improves, the outcomes becomes truly measurable, and not just operationally, but emotionally and ethically as well. So in essence, if I have to sum it, I would say healthcare transformation isn't just about digitizing the process. It's about humanizing the technology. So whether the technology is able to make the life comfortable, whether it is a provider side, whether it is the patient side. And that's how I see the transition from on-ground hospital operations to the digital health and SaaS ecosystems as such.
So do you think, so that is the reason that a lot of these plug and play SaaS platforms have failed to crack healthcare, ecosystem. On the other hand, a consultative approach, like, if you talk about Geltix, as such, they have succeeded well because they take care of both the sides of the things, as you were pointing out. Like, it's not only digitalizing, it's also about understanding the human aspect of it.
Right. You have rightly pointed out. See, normally what happens is that majority of the startups or the organizations which exist in the world, they have their own numbers to achieve, and they are into pure business. They are evolving a solution to make money at the end of the day, right? They are a profit centers. They are not doing anything for free. So when they make a product and they roll it out, of course, that has to have a linking in terms of how it is addressing the pain point of the set category of customers. But at the same time, they also have a pressure of achieving their numbers. And when they have a pressure of achieving their numbers, eventually they fail to understand where their technology is actually fitting and what is it helping to achieve that particular end user. Rather, on the reverse side, if they would actually sit down with the user and figure out, okay, what are your pain points and can I bring a solution around that? So that is how you actually humanize the technology. Right now, you see the humanizing of the technology is not up to, say, I would say it is only 40-50%, maybe, addressing one odd scenarios. But an integrated ecosystem of the healthcare is completely absent today. And for that reason, in SaaS companies, majority of the companies fail. The only reason is because they do not have a architecture built which can keep evolving altogether as per the need of the customer. So a hospital operation which used to happen 10 years back, that operation altogether has evolved now. So does my technology capable enough to evolve along with the hospital operation after 10 years? No. Some other company will come, or maybe some other solution will come which may plug and play after 10 years kind of a scenario. So that is the era, age in which we are living. And most of the organizations then keep figuring out, okay, whom we can integrate, what else we can build, can we give a additional, solution. And that is all because they want to sustain, they want to survive, but they are not humanizing the situation with the healthcare. So more the humanizing of the technology with the situation, the better you do in the healthcare spectrum.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
That is very important, sir, actually. What I feel is that the role of experts and consulting companies will increase, rather than decreasing. So healthcare is moving towards a data interoperability, as the foundation of innovation. What does it take to build an ecosystem where data exchange between hospitals, payers, and patients is both seamless and secure?
Very good question. In fact, if you ask me to build an ecosystem where hospitals, payers in insurance industry and patients can exchange data seamlessly and securely, we must balance three core pillars: trust, technology, and governance. So I'll just put a liner to each one of them. So trust as the currency of data exchange today. I mean, if you see, interoperability begins with trust. So interoperability largely takes care of your providers, patients, institution, and each three pillar has to have that confidence in you. So every stakeholder must feel confident that shared data will be used ethically, securely, and for the right. In establishing this trust requires transparency, strong consent framework, and a culture that treats data not as a commodity but as a shared responsibility. Number two, then comes technology that speaks a common language. So technical interoperability is more than connecting system. It's about making them understand each other. This means adopting global standards such as FHIR, which we call fast health interoperability, so, and implementing robust APIs, designing data architecture that enables the real-time exchange without friction. The goal here is longitudinal health record. So a single secure thread of truth across the care of continuum, that is the need, which most of the entities today or the technology delivering providers fail to bring in. And third most important thing is governance. So Rishikesh, here, what I mean is that governments that ensure security and accountability. So data mobility without protection is a chaos. A secure ecosystem that demands encryption at every level, zero trust network architectures, role-based access controls, and strong compliances with frameworks like HIPAA and NDHM and APDM standards. So beyond technology, governance must ensure ethical use, defining who can access what and when and why. Ultimately, the interoperability is not just about the data flow, it's about probably the value flow. When systems interconnect meaningfully, healthcare moves from periodic to continuous, from a reactive to preventive, and from institutional to truly individualized kind of a care. So the future, I believe, belongs to those who can merge data liquidity with data integrity. And if you see, enabling innovations without compromising the integrity, that would be the key forward, because every human, every individual, every hospital, every provider, everybody would want to ensure that do it, but ask me. So until unless you give that confidence, okay, even if I have not asked, you are fully secure, that trust won't come in.
Just like that trust is there in the banking systems.
Absolutely. So you go and use the ATMs without any fear. You do the digital transactions without any fear, because then at the back of the mind, subconsciously, there is an RBI sitting and this bank is also a very credible entity. So my money won't get lost. I will eventually get it credited back to my account.
So as we see that the healthcare data has become the new currency now, and so what do you see are the new business models that are emerging at the intersection of, say, healthcare IT, SaaS, and traditional provider systems?
So I would say, you know, if you ask me, SaaS is the way forward, right? And that is governed largely by two, three factors. The reason is because people do not want to invest on something which they are not sure about. Having said that, they really want to do a POC. They want confidence that, okay, something which is coming my way is really going to help me. It is going to, change the scenario in which I am currently operating. It is going to make my life easy. So they want to get along with the newer options. They want to choose the offers being made to them. But at the same time, they really want to be cautious in terms of how much they invest on the things being offered. Then they are not very sure about how that technology would eventually work, because they themselves have not made it by their own hand. So they really want to have a proof of concept. Okay, you get it deployed, but I won't invest much. So this SaaS thing came into picture. Now SaaS apparently came into picture because of this from human mindset. But from the business mindset, if you see, the SaaS products or the business models are more scalable, and they eventually give you the 10x value in terms of the way you operate. Today in technology, if any investor has to invest, if he says, okay, you have got X number of customers, or you have, X square kind of a revenue, and this is a monthly recurring, or this is an annual recurring money. So eventually your valuation of the company goes 8, 10 or 10x times. Now, keeping that in mind, of course, the organizations will look forward to from this aspect. But from the customer mindset, they do not end up investing something, a hard, big capital for the technology. And technology altogether is not sold at a it's not sold at a lesser price. It's pretty expensive. Yeah, and the kind of a healthcare facilities we have, if you leave tier 1 or tier 2 towns, they are kind of 10 bed, 25 bed, 50 bed, and the education level of those healthcare setup is also not very high. Given that fact, the SaaS factor works magic, especially in our Indian setup. And from that perspective, I believe the transformation what we see today from last, I would say, 2 decades, SaaS is very well accepted. The people do not raise much questions. Early and now with the advent of Netflix and Tata Sky and Airtel and digital, direct to homes kind of services, people understand what the cloud based solutions are. People understand what kind of a direct to home services are. So they do not find any challenges in terms of picking the solution which is completely SaaS based. Earlier they had an idea, okay, I need to have an on premise kind of a solution, my data need to be there with me, somebody will utilize my data, my, some legal action could be taken against me. So all those situations were there, but I see a definite transformation now compared to previous time.
Right. So, and SaaS has to be like, it can't be plug and play, sir. It has to be, somewhat customizable. Like, it has to be vertical SaaS.
Correct. It has to be customizable, which I can very fondly say,
Yes.
most of the organizations are pretty capable today. We see a lot of technology companies which are bringing completely customizable solutions. They are bringing in aspects of microservice based architecture so that they can very quickly fix the requirement of the customers.
And so you also touched upon, so one out of the box question is that, like, where do you see the healthcare system in India going, especially when talking about tier 2 and tier 3 cities?
Well, see, they have started adopting. And the good part is that we see some leaders out of, major brands operating out of Delhi and Mumbai who happen to be, pushing a lot of capital into tier 3 and tier 4 towns and taking that same standard of healthcare to these cities. Now, having said that, of course, at the end user is ready to pay that higher, premium, and they get a lot of learning in terms of why they should go to a proper healthcare service provider rather than some, a Tom and Harry kind of a setup. Once they experience that kind of a service levels in those cities, eventually their trust level goes up. Having said that, whatever technology is then pushed through these big brands into tier 3 and tier 4 towns, that is very well easily adopted by the patients. I mean, they are ready to embrace that. They are ready to change their conventional way of achieving healthcare services. So just imagine that if you go to very remote areas and tell them, okay, I will do some kind of a treatment where I can do your BP monitoring remotely, or I can do your glucose monitoring remotely, or I can do the consultation remotely. I'll send you the prescription on telemedicine. That guy won't believe. He will say, what kind of a doctor you are?
Yes.
I mean, you are not even holding my nerve. You are not even taking my BP through a stethoscope, and you are not hearing my heartbeat through the stethoscope. And you are writing me a prescription. I mean, this is something bizarre for me. But then now when these hospitals station themselves into those cities, they eventually are able to educate these set of patients also, that how the treatment modality is changing, what will be good for you. So there is a one-on-one human touch at those brick and mortar facilities. And eventually that learning makes this patient also getting educated, and they embrace that particular change. And that is how the healthcare transformation is also happening in India. India is a huge country, if you ask me. It's like massive. There are almost 52,000 healthcare facilities. I mean, who are altogether on records. I am sure how many companies could actually reach out to them.
Yes.
and whether they have been present in all of them. So that's the big question today. So I believe that drive, a collective drive, both at enterprise segment hospitals by mid-market hospitals. They together are reaching out to these towns, and we are seeing a very strong response from these areas as well, because they couldn't request a government, neither they could set it up something like that, and it is the big healthcare corporates only can do.
And as you rightly mentioned, sir, once they experience even at a small scale, they will understand that, it is worth paying for.
Correct, correct, absolutely. And then they realize the true value of that. So,
Yes.
and that is the reason why if you go to state capitals today, where brands like Apollo or Max or Fortis are present, they are seeing a tremendously good response in terms of their footfall, in terms of their patient engagement. And the only reason is because they always wanted, they had an aspiration of going to Delhi, going to bigger hospitals, but the same thing is now available in their town. So
Yes.
they feel more connected, they have more trust on the brand, and they are happy getting the services of the same standard what they could have got in tier 1 cities.
So there's a lot of buzz about AI going on, and it's kind of reshaping diagnostics, claims, and patient engagement.
Correct.
From your vantage point, sir, how do you see AI being responsibly embedded into the workflows?
Excellent question. In fact, I was wondering why didn't you ask it at first? So I'll tell you the true, picture of AI today in India. See, everybody is talking about AI, and they are only talking and bringing it in their presentation only to make sure that their organization or their individuals are all set to embrace or, get something done for the customer with the help of AI. Frankly speaking, 90% of the organizations today in India, they do not practice AI. And I'll give you a very small example. Artificial intelligence means that the entity or a unit has something about me which I am not aware of. And the machine altogether is able to utilize their intelligence and tell me, ki, look, this is something which you should have thought, which you have not thought, and I am telling you, prompting you. So, for example, if you get up in the morning, go to your coffee machine, you press the button, and your coffee of your choice comes out, that is not AI.
Yes.
That you have to press the button and the coffee comes cappuccino or latte or whatever you want. AI is that I get up from my bed, I go and stand in front of my coffee machine. The coffee machine, seeing my daily routine, prompts me, sir, you have been taking this coffee for so many days. Should I make one for you? That
Yes.
is AI, because the machine knows ki I'll get up at this time, I'll reach out to him at this time, and my choices are this, and the machine is asking. It's Siri. So when you say, hey Siri, it is like bringing in all your calendars and everything into mind, your daily routine, and it prompts you. That's artificial intelligence, because Siri knows you. The machine knows you. Most of the applications today in healthcare, they are running basis the commands feed it. Whether it is electronic medical record, whether it is a digital prescription, whether it is a appointment system, whether it is a radiology activities, whether it is a OT management. An AI role would be with respect to giving automatic insights, giving automatic understanding to the end user. Look, these are the factors which I already know. These are something which I have got today. The mix of this eventually populates to be something like this. Would you be interested to use that? That is AI. And, I'm afraid we probably have to reach to a pretty good level. We are still at a level of standalone applications which run as AI. We do not have a integrated healthcare ecosystem, which I can proudly say HealthTech is building upon.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we are building an ecosystem of digital interoperability healthcare platform, where probably we will give a connected healthcare, may it be radiology or appointment system or consultation or prescriptions or EMR or diagnostics, everything on a single platform. And that's what we call as a connected healthcare. So that's where I'm coming from, and that's what I particularly believe. And AI, that's the future, we all know. And what we need to do is just don't copy something which is already there in the market. Please
Yeah.
build something which is not there, so that if you are unique with your application, at least that can be integrated with something else. But build a unique AI application, that is the need of an hour. But majority of the organizations today, probably they end up building the same thing what
Yes.
already exists, and then there is a reinvention of the cycle. That's what where we are.
Sir, I see there's a lot of gap in the knowledge which founders who are building in health tech space. And actually what is happening on ground. Means they know about the product, they know about the tech,
Correct.
but they are not at all aware about how hospitals work or healthcare works.
I must say that you have done a very good research altogether. But frankly speaking, you are absolutely right. And the reason to that is this advent of this situation is from last 8, 9 years, I would say, from 2012 onwards, probably. But before that, of course, the health tech leaders did knew, the technology leaders did knew as to what are the workflows, what are the processes involved, what are the shortcomings, and how it could be fixed through technology. And the reason to that is, Rishikesh, because earlier all the hospitals were headed by some or the other medical guy.
Yes,
If you
yes,
see 20 years back, either it would be she, a doctor, or it would be he, a doctor.
yes,
And either it used to be a small setup of husband and wife. And even if some big hospital is there, it is being headed by administration or medical director, or the unit head used to be the doctor. And they understand the patient side of a requirement. They understand the challenges what the doctors have. And basis that, then evolution of technology used to be more closer to their requirement. Of late, in last 1 decade, we have seen the investment coming from private equity. And when this investment is coming from a private equity, it would be Adani's and Ambani's and myself altogether.
yes,
So if I bring, say, 50 odd crores or 100 odd
yes,
crores, I invest in a brick and mortar facility, I become the owner and I tell, okay, fine, you get something running quickly. And when I come from an equity market, I want things to be very, very fast paced.
yes,
Healthcare need not be fast paced. That's
mm,
the starting point. Healthcare has to be calm, slow,
mm,
thoughtful, and please harmonize with the patient's situation. Please harmonize with the patient requirement.
yes,
That's what healthcare is. And that is the place where you need to bring in a technology so that all the mundane work can be done by the technology.
yes,
And the human to human time can be more quality, which is probably missing today. So, what is happening is now technology is actually welcoming the patient in the facility. Technology is actually talking to the patient today. Technology is actually generating a prescription for the patient.
mm,
And technology altogether is saying, okay, you reach home, the medicine will be delivered at home. So now that human touch is lost.
yes,
The moment you get into losing that human touch, eventually things will start falling flat. And
yes,
that is the reason why you really need to understand that the person sitting at the top of the pyramid in a healthcare facility,
sir.
you need to balance the technology and human touch together. The technology should bring in efficiency in operation, and human touch should bring in better comfort
Mm,
and the expectations of the patient. So
yes,
that is what probably people need to look into. And that is what I firmly believe. I myself have worked into hospitals. So I know, with what mode, emotions the patient enter the facility. And when I am overloaded with the work, then I
mm,
used to wish, okay, if I could have this tech with
yes.
me, probably, this mundane work could be done by the tech, and maybe I could have spent more quality time with my patients. And that is what excels you in your business.
And this is so well said, sir. Matlab, this is very insightful that the work of technology is to automate mundane tasks
Correct.
so that the emotional connect, the human connect that you have with the patients, it can be focused upon.
So, for example, Rishikesh, you see, today we have applications like, Note Taker. So
Mm,
you conduct a interview with any person, the complete taxonomy could be printed out of the technology. You can refer to that taxonomy, even the summarized version could be populated. A good application could be that if you could put it in a doctor's chamber while the doctor is just talking casually with the patient,
mm,
and every damn thing being conversed is taken down as a AI note, and it summarizes everything, translates it into a prescription. And
yeah,
after the formal discussion, the doctor just press enter and the prescription is out.
mm,
That is AI. That is actually true AI. That
mm,
out of this conversation, the AI has picked in the key pain areas, the key
yes,
problems, what could be the favorite prescription for this kind of a symptom, and eventually what the doctor should prescribe. It saves time of the doctor. Doctor is able to give quality time. He doesn't have to write a prescription. A complete digital option is available for system of records. And that's what brings the efficiency. But still, we are quite far away from that situation. I mean, many of the companies claim to be providing that, but I think there is a journey to be covered.
And so when we talk about healthcare transformation, it involves a lot of collaboration between clinicians, data scientists, product teams.
Correct.
What are those leadership frameworks that you think can offer a very effective way of bridging these culturally distinct groups?
Very frankly, I would say that there was a famous philanthropist and philosopher mentioned. His name was Zig Ziglar. He used to give
Yes,
insight
yes.
on
Selling.
business development and sales. So he once said that, if you want something from somebody, you need to help him enough. If
Yes.
you are not helping the other person enough, don't expect anything coming from him. And
Yeah.
that goes by practice. So in today's time, the leadership where they are looking at bringing too much connected healthcare options through partnership, collaborations, provider network, this thing, that thing, internal, external, the true leadership would actually be justified and people will adore you for that
Hmm.
if you have everything for everyone. If you do not offer something which can make other person feel happy about your offering, I think you will fail. So it is not just about how great you feel with your offering. You should think through how great your customer will feel with your offering. So putting your own foot in the shoes of the customer
Hmm.
and then thinking, "Ki if I get this, will it make any sense to me?" If the answer comes yes, you are a true leader. You will win everywhere. People will accept you, they will adore you, and they will walk an extra mile with you. But majority of the time, what happens is the leadership today actually pushes and throws things. Okay, this has been worked out by a set of 4 people, and we think this is going to be great, and they push it forward to 400 people without involving them. So the more you involve and build something, that is by default accepted by everyone, because then the person whom you are kind of offering it, he had been the part of that journey of evolution. So whether it is partners, your providers, your hospitals, your connected healthcare service providers, please involve them in what you are going to bring, what you can offer, maybe certain good ideas you can incorporate, and then offer it. And that's the leadership in true sense which will work today. I hope that addresses, or if you have any connected question to that.
Yes, this is very important, sir, actually. And it kind of links to the first 5 minutes where where you told leadership's role is to enable change, not to drive change.
Because the more you enable, you are actually creating future leaders also. I mean, you are
Yes.
not going to be there forever. Somebody has to drive it after you.
Yeah.
So what kind of lessons or learnings or maybe handholding you are giving for, and those people also eventually need to learn your way, because then they are going to act as a pillar in the
Yeah.
system. They can't be playing around with the principles of operation.
And one more thing that you mentioned is that, sir, whenever you are doing some offering, you should come into the shoes of your customer
True.
and think, will it make sense to you?
Absolutely. Because then what you evolve and what you make, it
Mm.
will have a true meaning or true impact on the life of a person whom you are going to offer or engage with your service or maybe with your product. Because see, if I am going to sell something in the market, is it really addressing it? Is it really making that person achieve what he wants? Is
Mm.
it going to be budget friendly for him? Can he afford? Or am I putting it across in the right segment? Right? These things are very important. And if you design something, okay, I feel great about it, and I think the world will love it. I have done something very unique. It could be unique for you because you like it. It could not be unique for other people. So that is very important, and I think that really helps. And this is something which I am saying out of my experience. So whenever I used to kind of go to my certain set of customers, I really used to question myself here, why will this person take my product? And the kind of a price point I am giving vis-a-vis what he has other option. Is it comfortable for him to take? And then I used to think through what is the unique proposition which my product has, which other product doesn't have. And that probably if I can build my pitch around that. So sometimes it used to click, sometimes it doesn't. But at the end of the day, the key message which used to come out, the customer will take your product only and only if it benefits him. It cannot be in the dosti yari kind of a mode ki, okay, I like you, you like me, and let me take your product. It will
Yeah.
be a short term.
This is what, somebody, I think somebody as senior as you, sir, was also telling, like कि अगर कस्टमर आपको हेट भी करता है लेकिन आप उसको बेनिफिट दे रहे हो, वो
Correct.
खरीदेगा.
The
Yes.
moment, but at the same time, they continue on the same network also. I
Yes.
mean, it's not that they change this thing. They, not that they will leave Airtel and go to Jio immediately. They will blast the person. I
Hmm.
mean, their anger will go out, and
हाँ.
then again they are on Airtel only. And if you actually see,
Hmm.
the call center people are also trained in such a way, sir, I
Hmm.
fully understand your problem. Sir, I extremely apologize. And they are repeatedly saying that because they
Yes.
know that this person is angry for a moment, but after that, he'll be fine.
And many times, sir, out of the box, I'm thinking, sir, many times, I think 80% of the times, call center guys become the punching bags for something happening in the mind for some
Correct.
other things.
Correct. So the organizations know that. They know,
Yes.
see, the customer just can't live without a network today, right? He need
Hmm.
to have a channel of communication. So how
Yes.
will you survive without a phone, or how will you survive without a internet
Correct.
today? They know if he's not using mine, he will use something else. Correct. What is it I can do to ensure that I am giving him everything what he want? I may do mistake. I may fall at some point in time. The
Hmm.
customer will not reject you, yeah. Everybody falls. He will
Yes.
give you time to improve, or he will give you time to reshape it. But then
Yes.
at the end of the day, I need to fulfill the need. Am I fulfilling that need? That is something which is very, very important for any business to succeed.
Sir, we see a lot of B2B healthcare technology coming up. And where do you see the most scalable opportunities in the healthcare technology lie?
In B2B space, I think it is the providers only. And if you see the growing stream today, in next 5 years, the big billion kind of a business would be insurance technology. And hospitals, of course, had been at number one because they are the end users of the technology. And the way we are having a fast paced life today, the expectations of the patients, the lifestyle of the people, it is no more going to be a completely brick and mortar facility driven business.
Hmm.
We are heading towards more of a connected healthcare ecosystem. And that is where the vision of my own company is, where you will see more of preventive health wellness coming in place, more remote consultations coming in place, more quality deliveries in terms of prescription, in terms of key measurements of the vitals of the patient and how the technology can support it. That is the future. And with respect to the reimbursements in terms of insurance and claim management, may it be OPD side or IPT side. So this is the ecosystem of B2B business in which I see a huge scope. Now, technology as such would be able to help in terms of helping masses achieve that. So far, we had been seeing that one great hospital in one urban town, some metro city, is practicing a technology and they have done a good enough marketing. So entire India is running to that metro city, that big hospital, because of some great technology. But now we see that technology is kind of connecting dots to almost all the hospitals across India. So a doctor who might be very, very famous, sitting in one of the top metro hospital, he is fairly available to the remotest area in some village, and he is able to diagnose the patient properly
Hmm.
through Bluetooth, IoTs, through real time vitals coming to him, and eventually giving the prescription. It is only the operations which is kind of still need to be pulled out, because operationally we see a huge cost in India in terms of running the technology. So B2B future, I see that there will be a very good scope in terms of two segments: healthcare providers, insure technology, and operations and service area of running the technology. There are very few companies today who actually provide the service of running the operations successfully. Neither the hospitals today have that kind of a capability, and technology altogether, companies are not very keen in that. They say our job is to build a technology. How you run that technology, it's your call. So you have to deploy people, you have to deploy manpower, because connecting the remote dot and connecting to the metros, it's not easy. It's like, even if you have deployed, people need to be educated enough to use it. They need to be, good enough to run the application. They need to be
Yes.
good enough in supporting the patient. So that we still miss. Unfortunately, we are in that age. So B2B business, coming back to your same question, I think hospitals remain number one.
Yes.
Number two are, if we look into how we can provide the connected healthcare in terms of engaging the diagnostic labs, your MRI centers, your pathology labs, especially specializing in booth research, which was like your DNA matching, or, genomics, I would say, which still is absent into tier 2 onwards. It is only present in, I would say, or maybe the state capitals. So if we can look into that, I think that will be helpful.
And so one question was coming to my mind that with all this private equity coming up, and kind of overtaking hospitals at some X multiples, whatever it is, they are trying to consolidate the hospitals as well, like,
True.
so that they can become. What are your views on that, sir? Like, is it going to help?
There are two reasons to that. One reason is, of course, private equity wants quick money. They want to exit with profit. Number one. Number two, they want to bring a uniformity of service deliveries across their centers. So they don't want a Dehradun city to be giving lesser number of services vis-a-vis Delhi, or Nagpur hospital giving less service than Mumbai. Now, and that is what they stand up for in the market in terms of their brand equity. So if any person is coming to, say, for example, XYZ brand, they would expect the same standard of service, convenience, engagement, and care and price across the board, whether he goes to Mumbai or Nagpur or Lucknow or Delhi or anywhere. So when private equity comes into a play, they of course want to make money out of their brand. So if you go to a second rung kind of a brand or a third rung kind of a brand, they don't charge you that much. I mean, you will see a consultation of 450, 500 rupees in tier 3 town. But if you come to metro, it is 1800 to 3000 rupees. Likewise, private equity player, they would want to optimize their cost of operation by putting in same kind of a service across the board. So they cannot look at, bringing one vendor in one city, second vendor in second city, because that eventually raises the cost of their operation. So private equity players come with that mindset. And of course, they want to monopolize the market. They want to really, sweep the market with maximum footfall and maximum engagement. But at the same time, if you see consolidation in terms of bigger fish eating away the smaller fish, that is because some people decide to quit the business early, because now the new young equity owners I see in the investment circle, they say, ki, boss, I want to retire at 40. Very simple. I don't want a business to run for 100 years, and I don't want my sons and daughters to run it. I want my money back at 40. I want to really play golf. So I have worked hard in my life. I also deserve to enjoy. Okay. So if I need to, retire at 40, you will do what? You will sell
Yes.
it off. And
Yes.
when you sell it off, then obviously these consolidations will come in place. Consolidations happen if you look at the management way of operation. That happens because one person want money quickly, the other person want to expand really big time. And that is why consolidations happen. If everybody says, no, I am happy with my business, I will not give equity to anyone else. I want to run it the way I want to. No consolidation will happen. But it is happening because people start something, they build something, sell it off, make money, and they retire at 40. That's how it is. If you ask me the bottom line. But frankly speaking, bigger brands today, they are looking at consolidation because all the money which flows into healthcare today, that is the common public's money. If you look
Yes.
at the bigger brands in India today, like Fortis, Apollo, Max, Manipal, or Care Group, I mean, they are all listed companies, right? So
Yes.
when you are a listed company, it's the money of a public. Public wants dividends. Public want the share price to go up. And if it has to go up, you need to expand. You need to build a technology. You need to build assets. You need to expand your customer base. You need to increase your revenue. You need to improve your EBITDA margins, your PAT margins.
Yes.
So consolidation is the way forward. Until unless you do that, I mean, you acquire, you merge, you expand. That's how you increase revenues.
Right. And then at last, sir, like finally, as healthcare becomes more digital, decentralized, and data rich, what are those leadership quality which will define the next generation of healthcare leaders?
Is it technology driven leaders or any generic
Any
leaders?
general leader, somebody like you, sir, the new generation.
Well, I would always place myself as a learning student. I never take myself, I sit out with a fresh graduate to learn more and more rather than thinking myself as a leader. So I think going forward, Rishikesh,
Yes.
first of all, the very point which most of the people carry conventionally, I will go back to the 80s and 90s leaders who used to be directors and SVU heads. And vice president and the CEOs, they really used to feel that they are a CEO, right? Today's CEO doesn't have to feel like CEO. Yeah, you think yourself as a working executive. If you work like you also take the ownership of a work, you work along with your team. So, for example, if there are 10 tasks, today's leader is required to do only 6 tasks, but 4 tasks he should help and support his team, right? Or maybe 4 tasks he should do himself, and maybe 6 tasks he should be able to guide and support. That is what the combination of a leadership is required today. If you think I am a leader only to advise, if I am a leader only to give a direction, or if I am only a leader to give you some wisdom or a gyan out of my 20, 30 years old experience, that will fail. Because today's generation, today's new tech people, today's new Gen Z or Gen X, which you see, they expect their leaders today to lead by example. Please don't come and just tell me how it need to be done or what you did in your time was different, this time is different. So it is better that today's leader get along with Gen Z and Gen X, make their hands dirty along with that generation, and get to see the real problem what this Gen Z or Gen X is facing today. That is the, and if that happens, trust me, the solution to the problem will be very fast, efficiencies will improve, and the customers altogether are going to get the real benefit out of what they are looking at. Most of the time, the communication hierarchy is so long. By the time you realize the key pain point and the organizations get down to actually, you know, solving the problem, the customer shifts by that time. By the time you bring the solution, customer shifts. So if you really want to be very quick in addressing the problem, please be there at your customer side. That's the next leadership, I would say, that is most needed. Because today's customer doesn't have patience. They do not have patience. Either you need to be very, very clear, take the buy-in that, okay, at this stipulated time, I'll be able to deliver, or just don't make a fool of the customer. If you look at fooling the customer, that will bite you one day.
So two things that you mentioned. One was that today's leadership, leaders should lead by, you know,
Exactly.
lead by example or actions. And second thing is that they should stop, they should not stop being in the customer shoes.
Correct, correct. Because see, though gone are those days when you decided something, you did a research, you rolled out a product, and then you are guarding that opinion very strongly. You need to be flexible very much. Even if what you did a research or you made a wonderful product, rolled it out, and you found a slightest eyebrows going up because of XYZ service or a product, you should very diligently quickly address that,
Yes.
because that is meant for the customer. He's paying you the money, he's paying you for the service, and you designed this product for that person. So if it is not helping them, why will they kind of get along with you? And it is the primary responsibility of leader to be humble enough to listen to everyone, to take a conscious call on time, and then be flexible, adaptable to bring that change very quickly and efficiently.
Thank you so much, sir. This was very insightful session. Learned
Thank
so
you,
much from you.
Rishikesh. Thank you for coming along and giving time. I really enjoyed talking to you, in fact, and it's really great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Extremely grateful that you took out time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Sir, just